Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. My name Dr. Norshafizah binti Hanafi. I'm from UUM. Okay, today I want to present my paper. Title is Role, Stressors and Burnout Towards Organizational Commitment Among Public Servants at Kuala Lumpur City Council, Job Satisfaction as a Mediator. Okay, so introduction for this study is the aim of this study is to examine the relationship between role stressor, which is RC, include role conflict, role ambiguity, role overload, burnout, and organizational commitment, and mediated by the job satisfaction among public servants at Kuala Lumpur Council Hall DBKL. Okay, this study done before pandemic COVID-19 and during pandemic COVID-19. So this study also aimed to the public servant at the BKL due to the lack of study done at City Council in Malaysia. The BKL was chosen because of the BKL is the largest city council in Malaysia. Okay. So the public servant has been subjected to deep changes characteristic by organizational commitment, which were affected by the role of stressors and burnout. According to the MITI, Sokman and Beach 2016, organizational commitment is related to the public servant psychological attachment with their organization. So this study attempts to examine the extent of role stressors and burnout comprehensively compiled from several recent studies. The comprehensive role stressors and burnout are linked to job satisfaction, which is assessed integrally in the two levels of hierarchy of objective job satisfactions and organizational commitment. Okay, organizational commitment or OC is a dependent variable for this study, and it's defined by Mayer and Allen 1991 as a psychological situation that the detail of association of an employer with organization while implying the decision of whatever to stay on as a member of the organization or not. So OC is also described by Cohen 2003 as a strength that tie an individual to a more relevant engagement that can achieve more than one target. In other words, it's called killing two birds with one stone. Okay, so for the independent variable, which is a role stressor, include the role stressors, role stressors. So the role stressors are stated as an array of anticipation about conduct regarding a place in a social structure. According to the Rizzo et al. 1970, expectations are the necessities of boundaries attributed to the role via the worker in charge of certifying a position or by those related to the rank or title and merely inflected with related staff. Okay, in role stressor is also include the role conflict. So role conflicts described by Jude 2011 arise as at condition when two people are affected by dissimilar opinion concerning their effort after contradictory stress and hopes when doing so will lead to the distinguishing choices. Okay. And we also have the role ambiguity. The role ambiguity was found to be the studied's reason to the work-family disagreement as discussed by Ryan Ma and Co. 2009, and as well as the unwanted effect on organizational commitment and job satisfaction, according to the Zoo 2013. And role stressor also include the role overload. So the role overload often regarded a mode of conflict among intersenders where an individual is required to achieve the demand of various role senders, according to the Jones et al. 2007. And it's also associated with low performance, absenteeism, low authoritism, low organizational loyalty, and low overall organizational profitability. according to the Sheikh Uto and Mito 2012. Okay. And last for the independent variable in this study is burnout. So according to Chinese 1980, burnout is the influences the staff part confidence and mental prosperity. And number two, burnout appear to influence the nature of care and treatment given to the customers. And number three, burnout may affect managerial work. And the last one, burnout is significant in network setting since it enables network parental figures to the forestall work pressure and hence advances network psychological well-being. Then for this study, we have a mediator. A mediator is job satisfaction. So the job satisfaction has also been in apprehension among organizational behaviorists because job satisfaction has always been positively connected with productivity but negatively connected with non-attendance in the workplace, according to the Low Prestige 2013. And according to the QA 2015, job satisfaction has received significant attention from many quarters because it was found to predict relevant workplace outcome variables. And according to the Chiboiwa, Chipunza, and Samuel 2011, job satisfaction is the positive emotional states of pleasure developed on or after an assessment of the job experiences. Okay, the problem statement for this study. So this study aimed to investigate the role stressor, which is RS, issues public servant in DPKL. So the role stressor is very important to study because of its affected to the job satisfaction and organizational commitment. In the BKL, job satisfaction and organizational commitment is very important to ensure job done on time and customer get response quickly. So the BKL actually they have a lot of job to be settled based on schedule, complaint, requirement and maintenance. And also the BKL have a high volume of workers, job and service to the public needs. And DBKL is the largest city councils in Malaysia. And then, according to the MITI Segment and BID 2016, organizational commitment is related to the public servant psychological attachment with their organization. So the OC is very important to study in DPKL. So the organization has been trying to get more compliance and conformity from public servant, and they have tried to get personnel to be more dedicated to the organizational through creating cooperation, according to Jalal Hanisha 2016. And furthermore, it could also affect their job satisfaction, such as turnover, behavior, and performance. So research objective for this study is to investigate the relationship between a role threshold, which is role threshold, they have a role conflict, a role ambiguity, role overload, burnout, and organizational commitment. So for this research objective number 1, it's contribute to the hypothesis 1, 2, 3, and 4. And number 2, to investigate the relationship between a role stressor, which is role conflict, role ambiguity, role overload and burnout, and organizational commitment and mediated by the job satisfaction. This second objective is contribute to the hypothesis 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the last one is to investigate the relationship between job satisfaction and organizational commitment. This is for the hypothesis number 9. Okay, research question. Research question is there any significant relationship between role stressor, which is role conflict, role ambiguity, role overload, and burnout, and organizational commitment? And number 2, is there any relationship significant relationship between role conflict, role ambiguity, role overload, and burnout and organizational commitment mediated by the job satisfaction. And the last one is there any significant relationship between job satisfaction and organizational commitment? Okay, and significance of this study. Actually, this study may assist Kuala Lumpur City Council or DBKL in Malaysia, which is the government around the world and related agencies to enhance their understanding of the crucial relationship between role stressor and burnout in organization between by the job satisfactions. And strategies can be generated for better policies while managing their commitment and organizational behavior efficiency issues. And this study also contribute and develop a new knowledge on public servant policy, particularly in the City Council public servant. Okay, scope and limitation of this study. The research focus on the explicit effect of role ambiguity, role conflict, role overload, burnout, and including the immediate effect of job satisfaction on the organizational commitment by public servant, particularly in Malaysia City Council governmental organisation, which is DPKL. So the evaluation and review of the chosen public servant organisation will be constrained to the subsequent variable of research, which is job satisfaction, burnout, role ambiguity, role conflict, role overload, and organizational commitment. Okay. For the IV, IV is role stressor. So role stressor, we have a role conflict, role ambiguity, role overload, and burnout. And we also have the dependent variable, which is job satisfaction, and mediated by the organizational commitment. Okay, so the methodology. So this study is use simple random sampling method to collect the data among public servant in DBKL. And the example of a survey might involve waiting at the door of a government and associated departments and searching for public officials to answer questions. And this study is known as a set study or period sample. And the Kuala Lumpur City Council include the intended community of this study. So only the DPKL we study in this survey. So about 389 of the total sample of 9,314 public servant within the BKL organization was taken. And we use the descriptive analysis for the gender, age, working duration, and academic qualification. And for the measurement of tools using SPSS 24 and run for the normality, validity, reliability, multiple regression, and also the correlation. Okay, result and finding. Results show that 53.5% of respondents were female, while the rest is male. And a range of 20 and 30 years old and 30 and 40 years old participate in this study. So this information suggests that workers between the age of 20 and 30 are more likely to take chances and complete their activities with a great deal of autism and motivation. And 52.4% of the respondents, they have a working duration 0 to 5 years rank. And then about 17.5% work 6 to 10 years and 30.1% work more than 10 years. So in this study, we have a respondent about 36.4% is SPM qualification, and we have a 32.9% is we have a diploma education level, and the rest is come from the second higher educational level among the respondents. Okay, most of the responses are found among the rank of supervisor, and positive association are shown between role conflict, role ambiguity, role overload, and burnout with job satisfaction. The job satisfaction can affect organizational commitment by mediating the interaction between role conflict, role ambiguity, role overload, and burnout. Okay, so this hypothesis appear to support all the relationship that has been theorized under the research question. So results show that WKL City Council organization environment is very difficult to sustain in this competitive world due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So therefore, high-ranked staff or officers need to always structure new strategy and revise organization objective from time to time according to the present economic situation. And the reason for this action is to keep up with government rules and regulation with the best practice as a public servant. And then for conclusion and recommendation, the study provide empirical evidence for theoretical relationship hypothesized in the research framework and also add to knowledge on the importance of the role stressor. So this study is only confined in the WKL Wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur, and it is recommended that future research should also include other council states in Malaysia, for example, Seberang Perai council states, Johor Bahru council state, and we have more council state in Malaysia. And other factors not studied in this research project can be used to build a more accurate predictive model in future research and add more understanding into the domain of organizational commitment. Okay, for future study, should this employ a hybrid approach, integrating both quantitative and qualitative research to achieve a more comprehensive result. And the final limitation is the lack of prior study among public servants in the BKL City Council. The deficiency in the current research is the researcher cannot compare their finding with a similar study from other scenario or states because there is a lack of study in City Council in Malaysia. So finding from this study also can contribute to the new knowledge of government rules and regulation and also can present to the members in Parliament of Malaysia. Okay, thank you very much. And please have a free time to ask for the question and answer. Thank you.